Welcome back to WagerTalk.com. I'm Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio with Bryan Leonard and Preston, the sports cheetah. We're going to head to the NFL, and we're going to take a look at a game. The Buffalo Bills travel out to play the Oakland Raiders. Guys, we keep talking about the Raiders every week. We say the same stuff. Finally, as you said while we were off air, Preston, we finally got a cover against them last week with Carolina. And, Carolina made it tough to get there, rallying from behind. But this Raider team, statistically, they don't look like the best seed in the AFC, but yet they keep finding ways to win. And how about the performance of Derek Carr last week with the finger injury, going off and coming back, putting a glove on and leading his team to a victory?
I was going to say, I think I was fortunate to an extent because the Panthers did come out of the second half. They got that fumble when he broke his finger on the snap. They scored. And then that first series with McGloin or whoever, it was 3 and out quick, and then Panthers scored again. But when Carr came back, he somehow with a glove and a broken pinky or whatever, he just slung it anyways. So I have to credit him because coming back, I actually thought then I'd have an easy win. Panthers were up 8, I think, and then Carr's like, no, we're going to still win this game, and scored 11 in a row. But in general, the Raiders, the numbers are saying one thing, and the results are saying another. It's kind of been like that all season. I will say, just from in this particular matchup against the Bills, I think the line's still 3.5. That's basically where the Panthers line closed. And it was a pretty bad spot for Oakland coming back from Mexico in that game on a short week. And I rate personally the Panthers better than Buffalo Bills. So for the first time probably all season for me, I actually think the Oakland number is short. I think I'd be surprised if it closed under 4, but I'm not always perfect on my market reads in the NFL. But when you're looking at it just from last week in the Panthers and against the Bills, I think the 3.5 is actually short. So hopefully people that are watching, most of them probably Raiders fans, I'd bet it earlier rather than waiting.
All right. Well, I'm going to disagree a little bit. The problem when you have a team like the Panthers, and we talk about is where do you make your adjustments in season on how you rate them? Because this is a Panther team now, after losing that game last week, they're not mathematically out of it, but realistically, Bryan, you and I talked about this at lunch the other day. They were in a Super Bowl last year. And now they're realistically not going to make the playoffs. So, you can't put the same number to me on them. And Buffalo is deceptively good. If you look at if you ask who's the best rushing team in the NFL, you would say it's the Dallas Cowboys. But if you do it yards per play, it's actually the Buffalo Bills. And if you can run the football in the NFL, and that's still kind of an old school thing, but you're gonna stay in games. And situational wise, you've got the Raiders got the huge game Thursday night against Kansas City at home. In Kansas City, yeah. So Bryan, how much is that factored in to a little bit as far as the scheduling?
I think that's the reason why the line's a little bit lower, because I do agree that Carolina, from a power rating standpoint, for talent, is a little bit better than Buffalo, but with the situation stuff, as you pointed out, for Carolina, I think Buffalo is probably in the equal range at this point in the season. But you've got me every week. You put me on for these Raiders videos, and I don't think I've got one right all year. I keep going against what the numbers are saying, and it's not working out. I'm due. I think it's going to be very similar to last week. I think it comes down to 3-4 points. I'd prefer the Buffalo side, but I haven't been right going against Oakland, so you got to learn your lesson once in a while.
One thing I add, Buffalo does pretty well against the run, which the Raiders can't run the ball anyways. They're pretty poor defending the pass, which is what the Raiders' strength is. And if it comes late in the game, if they just start slinging it and Carr's just eating them up, I think that's where the real X's and O's edge is to the Oakland side, really, when it comes down to the matchup.
As far as defensively, Oakland is the worst against the pass, yards per play, 6.4 yards per play this year. And Oakland's rush defense, not good either. They're allowing 4.6 yards a carry. And as I said, Buffalo runs the football so well. And if the running game is going, we've talked about it so many times, an average quarterback's going to be a good quarterback. A good quarterback is going to look great. I think both teams are going to score in this one. And as I mentioned in last week's video, Cam Newton was the first real mobile quarterback that they faced this year, Oakland. Well, they're going to face their second one back-to-back weeks, and then they've got the Kansas City game on deck. If I put the gun to you, Bryan,
I guess Buffalo only by about a half a point. I mean, it's
That's a
probably-
ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Preston?
I don't disagree looking at the over somewhat. I think, like I was saying, where I think the Raiders will be able to throw on Buffalo. Similarly, if Buffalo can run and score that way, then we'll see a lot of points. So I'd probably, if I had to bet anything, would play over versus the side.
All right, I've got to lean to Buffalo. I'm going to take the points just because of the big situational spot that the Raiders are in coming off of the Carolina game, and actually 2 games coming off of the Mexico game, then Carolina and Kansas City on deck. So we're going to go ahead and look at Buffalo plus the points for my play. And guys, don't forget, each and every Tuesday at Wager Talk, it's $2 Tuesday. We pick a capper, we take his best bet, and we offer it to you for just $2. It's a great way to introduce yourself to a new capper or just introduce yourself to the site. Check it out each and every Tuesday at Wager Talk on $2 Tuesday. I'll be back with more here at wagertalk.com.